Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Today I'm in a VW Golf GTi. As you might have heard me say in other videos, I'm not a huge hot hatch fan. They just don't really do much for me. In fact, there are only two hot hatches that I'd actually buy. The new VW Up GTi, because I quite like that. I think it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's almost like a cartoon car. And the Mark II Ford Focus ST, but that's mainly because of the 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbo engine. I love that engine. Anyway, they're the only two hot hatches I would buy. The rest just don't do anything for me at all. The daddy of the hot hatch family is the Golf GTi. It was first on the scene, and it's been around since the late 70s. It's very popular with a lot of people, apart from me. Now, I have two problems with hot hatches. Firstly, it's just their appearance. They're just boring looking hatchbacks, like the ones that your grandparents would drive. You don't drive a hot hatch trying to catch your reflection in a shop window because it just looks like a Golf. There's nothing particularly special about it. They're usually front wheel drive, they usually have a 4-cylinder engine. They're just a little bit predictable. They try and trick people into thinking that they're sporty by putting some red stripes around the grille or some go faster stripes along the body. But they're not fooling anybody. They still look like the boring hatchback that your grandmother would take to the garden centre. The second reason I don't like hot hatches is because of the people who buy them. Now, I'm about to generalise terribly now, so just bear with me while I go on a rant for 60 seconds. In the Greater Manchester area, and I suspect this is true for most of the world, it's a yobs car. If you have an ankle tag and a neck tattoo, you have a hot hatch. They're for people with letters after the name, and I'm not talking MD, PhD, I'm talking more ASBO, CCJ, that sort of thing. Drivers of these cars always have a Stone Island tracksuit, and they always, for no reason whatsoever, have a bum bag just here. Or a fanny pack, if you're watching this in America. And they always, even if it's a nice summer's day, drive around with the hood up. I just don't know why that is. One can only assume it's to impress the galdem. When you see them outside their hot hatch, they've always got one hand down their pants, and the other hand clutching their vape device. I know I'm generalising terribly there, but for me, I just can't separate the two. Hot hatch equals that owner. If you live in the city centre, they might be bought by well-to-do people who want something that's quite fast, quite practical, but also quite small and easy to park. And that, I suppose, is what they're perfect for. Another issue, one final issue that I've got with the hot hatch, I know I said there was two, but there are actually three. They always get stolen, always, without doubt. Maybe not an old one like this, but if you've got a new or nearly new hot hatch, I guarantee in the middle of the night, when you least expect it, somebody wearing a North Face tracksuit will throw your concrete umbrella stand through your patio doors and help themselves to the keys. Then Mr. North Face will screw some false plates onto your hot hatch and then go and rob a local Londis. It's just a sad part of hot hatch ownership. So this Golf has got nearly 200 horsepower, and if you put your foot down, this is what I mean, it's kind of underwhelming. It's okay, I suppose, but it doesn't really pin you into your seat. It's okay, it's alright, I just don't know why people get so excited about them. Anyway, I've aired my grievances now with the average hot hatch buyer and the hot hatch in general, so let's get on to the actual car in question. This is an early 2008 57 reg VW Golf GTi. It uses a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine which produces nearly 200 horsepower. It's front wheel drive and it's mated to a 6-speed automatic gearbox. This is a DSG box, so it's a twin clutch gearbox. I've got paddles behind the steering wheel, so if I knock it into manual mode, somehow, the gear changes are instant actually. So I've got it in manual mode. We're just about to get on the bypass, so let's see. Changed into second. Listen, I mean, it's quick enough. I just don't know why people get giddy about it. It doesn't pin you into your seat. It's just quick enough, as you'd expect from a 200 horsepower 4-cylinder car. These have a timing belt which needs to be replaced every 5 or 6 years. The DSG gearbox needs to be serviced every 40,000 miles. Now that's crucial, because if you don't, it just won't last. This particular model has done 65,000 miles, which is very low for a 12-year-old car, and it's in great shape. Because it's front wheel drive, you get quite a bit of torque steer. Because it's turbocharged, the power delivery isn't very smooth. You put your foot down and nothing happens for a second or a second and a half, and then you get too much, and then it's over. Because of these sport seats and the chunky weighted steering wheel, it does make you feel like you're in something sporty. But because it's a boxy Golf, it feels like I'm sat up quite high. It just feels a little bit off balance, I think. It's a little bit like trying to run the London Marathon wearing a motorcycle helmet. Interior space isn't too bad, I suppose. Visibility is good. I can see everywhere quite clearly. There are no blind spots. Because it's right-hand drive, my left leg's jammed up against the centre console. The boot's quite a good size. It goes back quite far and the seats fold flat, so I suppose it's quite practical. The ride's not too firm either. It's not like driving an M Sport BMW, even though it's got the bigger wheels. So that's not too bad. Rear legroom isn't too bad either. This one's quite a good spec, so I've got heated seats, which is a godsend on a day like today because it's 2 degrees up here in the high peak area, and this low winter sun is a pain in the neck. This one's got sat-nav, but look how ancient this system is. It's laughable, really, to think that that was the state-of-the-art technology back in 2007. Imagine being lost and having to rely on that. It's that old. I think it's still got some Roman settlements showing. I quite like the design of the wheels, although they are very easy to curb. The design, I'm not going to say I like it, but it looks quite good for a Golf. But as a car in general, the hatchback shape is a little bit boring and bland. I'm not a huge fan of the DSG gearbox because around town and in traffic it feels a little bit easily confused. But on country roads, when you want to get a bit of a move on, it is very good because it makes the changes very quick. It just feels a little bit boxy and heavy. Doesn't really give you the confidence to push it into corners. I just know because it's front wheel drive there'll be loads of understeer and I'll probably end up in a hedge. Although I have just put on 2 new Pirelli tyres, so they should get me out of some trouble. The heated seats are very powerful. My back is on fire. Servicing costs are fairly inexpensive. I suppose that's the main appeal of cars like this. The fact that they're easy to live with on a daily basis, they're quite practical, quite spacious, quite quick, I suppose, and quite inexpensive. So yeah, servicing costs are quite reasonable. I've just had a service done on this, full service, spark plugs, filters, the whole lot, and that cost just under £200. I've had 2 new Pirelli tyres fitted on the front. They were about £70 each, so that's not too bad. Running costs, today I've averaged 25 miles per gallon. On a run you'll probably get 35 miles per gallon, maybe 38 if you drive sensibly, so that's not too bad. I put £30 of V-Power petrol in this the other day and it got me half a tank of fuel, so I suppose about £60 will fill the tank. The trouble is, as I've said, as these age and get cheaper, people buy them who can't really afford them, so they buy them, then don't look after them. So the used market is littered with bad examples, abused examples that haven't been maintained. So if you're looking for one, make sure you get one with full service history. If you're looking for one that's DSG, make sure it's had its gearbox serviced. Make sure the cam belt's been done. Just make sure you buy a loved example and not an abused one. I know that's true of any used car, to be honest, but it's especially true of hot hatches because a lot of them have had a hard life. They are fairly reliable too. There are a few common issues that I'll just run you through. The high pressure fuel pump can fail. That's fairly expensive actually, it's about 300 or 400 quid. Coil packs can fail. The DSG gearboxes can fail, and when they do, they're about £1,500 to repair. So like I say, make sure you buy one that's been serviced. One issue I've had with this, I don't know whether this is a common issue or not, but the blower motor wasn't working when I bought it. And of course this time of year it's crucial, and that was £200 to replace. You can pick up MK5 GTIs from a couple of grand, but it's like anything. If you're buying a car like this, I would rather pay a little bit extra and get one with low miles and full service records, because it will save you money in the long term. The brakes are good, it's quick enough, it handles well enough, it's just a Golf at the end of the day. Not sure what else I can say about it. I personally would rather have something a little bit more interesting, but who am I to judge, because I like some fairly weird cars too. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll do my best to get back to you. So cheers guys, I'll see you next time.